This conference will now be recorded.
all, welcome to the session. Hope you can see my screen.
Visible.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, I clicked wrong. 1 second, yeah. Yeah, can you hear me? Actually, I was using wrong headset, so hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
You are
So
audible.
see here. Yesterday we have started the table of contents, and I have showed you how to work with the tabs. Okay. Don't know whether you have practiced it or not, but let's continue with the remaining thing. Okay, in the table of control contents, we have seen how to create tab pages, and then I think we have created tabs, and we have called it as primitive controls, the primitive 1 and the primitive 2. Okay, and I think I forgot to set caption for one of them. Let me set it up. Properties, and okay, this is caption it has. This is primitive 1, primitive 2. Done. Okay, and this is the second tab, and we have not added anything here yet. Okay, now let's start. Okay, now are you clear on how to work with this table of contents and how to add the controls? Hope so. Now let's move on to the other type of controls, and then we will see how to work with it. Okay, now I think I have added a tab page, and let me set some pattern here. 1 second, it's loading. Click on apply pattern. Now we have seen toolbar and fields. We have seen fields and field groups. Uh, I want to go with the custom pattern now, and then we'll come back. This toolbar and list panel is same, so we will see the list panel as well. Now I am taking a custom pattern here, and then let's add a few controls to it. Okay, there will be some interesting controls. Let's add them. You can see action pane, availability view, button group. Oh, first of all, let's begin with the action pane. Okay, we will begin with the action pane, and then we'll go with the other controls. That would be good. Okay. Now you can see there is something called action pane. Let me select this action pane. And what is the action pane? What is the action pane? If you want to perform some sort of action, then we will use the action pane. What is the action? Copy, cut, paste, open, close, delete. All these are the actions. If you want to perform this kind of actions, then we need to use something called action pane. And when you have created an action pane, you can not only action pane tab or a button group. You can add only action pane tab or a button group to the action pane. Okay, so I prefer adding an action pane tab, and then to this action pane tab add a button group. This action pane tab I will call it as controls 1. I'm calling this as controls 1, and then right click on the new button group. Okay, and let me call this as button group 1. And coming to this button group, you can have different kinds of buttons. Okay, we will see them in detail. Before that, let me create a new action pane tab, and let me call this as action pane tab 2, because this is my action controls 1. Okay, let me call this as action pane tab 1. You can see clearly how it will look like. Action pane tab 1, and this is action pane tab 2. Done. Now to this tab as well, create a new button group. Okay, and you can call this as controls 2 or button group 2. You can see where exactly it will look like and how it will be. Okay, and to these buttons we can add different types of buttons. So what are the types of buttons we have? The first one is a simple button. Okay, and this button does not have action by default. I will call this button as click me. Okay, and then if you go to the methods, I want to override a method called clicked. You can see there are a whole lot of methods, and frankly speaking, we are not going to never use all these methods. Mouse down, mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse move, all these methods. Frankly speaking, I never used all these methods. Okay, in my career, if you ask me, did you use all these methods at any point of time, I will say there are few methods like this mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse move, depending upon the client requirement, because sometimes what client will ask is if he hover the mouse to on the button, then he wants to get the help text. So like this, there will be some small requirement. Okay, at that point, sometimes what he will ask is, I don't want to have focus on it. That means it should be disabled. When it is disabled, I need to set this lost focus to true. And like this, there will be few of the methods that you will use. And the most popular method in this one is the clicked. Okay, so this will get triggered when you click the mouse button. Okay, I will just write the code, and then I will simply say info, and then in the bracket you have clicked me, or you have clicked this button. Okay, let's add a simple text. You have clicked button. Done. Okay, a simple text. Now anyways, we came to the code here, so I want to show you one more thing. Okay, tables we have seen common. Similarly, in forms we have form run. Okay, in case of tables we have common. In case of forms we have form run. Okay, each and every form we extend with form run, and if you want to access any form information, you can access that information using form run object. You can access that information using form run object. Okay, so now you can see here I have the second one, action pane, control 2, and we have added the tab and then a simple button. Now we will see the next one. Click on the new. I have a button separator. What is this button separator? If you are adding multiple buttons between button and button, if you want to have a separator, then we will use something called button separator. Then we will use something called button separator. Okay. Next, this button separator does not have any kind of properties. You have no need to add them as well. Okay, it will just simply add a line. Click on the new, and then I'm adding a command button. So what is a command? Command have a command. By default, it is set to undefined, and you can set whatever you want. As I told you, view, cut, copy, paste. You will have all those here. Let me check if there is a new and new. Can you see this? Like this, if you want to have the commands, if you want to have the predefined commands, then we are going to use something called command button. Okay, I have added 2 buttons over there. For this button group as well, let's add a few buttons, and I will add a menu button here. So what is a menu button? Let's say you want to have multiple things on a single button. I will add a text, and I will call it as open items, and it will open the items for me. Okay, because this contains multiple things, so I call it as open items. Click on the new button. Now you can add a button, a command button, a menu item button. So I'm adding a menu item button here, and this menu item button is very important one, because using this you can open a menu item. I will call it as ICI, and then let's open the address form. When the user clicks on this button, I want to open the address form. Okay, similarly you need to set some text here. Okay, let me call this as address. Done. Now similarly I want to create one more button here, new menu item button, and then I will call this as customers. Okay, I want to call this as customers. And for this as well, if you want to add something, you can add a menu item here, menu item name, and then you can call it as ICI, and then you can call it as customers. Done. Save here. Okay, now for this, right click, click on the new button separator, and let me drag and drop this button separator in between. Oh no, it's not coming. Use alt up arrow. Okay, at the middle I have the button separator. Done. Now we have added one menu button, and then let's say I want to add one more. I want to add a drop dialog. Okay, drop dialog button. So for this drop dialog button to work, what I need to do is I need to add one more drop dialog menu item. How to create a drop dialog? It's very simple. Right click, click on the add button, new item, and then I want to go to user interface, and then select a form. I will call it as ICI drop dialog. So when a And where do we use this drop dialog? If you have some 4 or 5 or some less number of fields, and then you want to add or update the data into them, then you will use drop dialog. This drop dialog will contain only dialog content and then button group. So first of all, create a dialog content, right click, and then click on the new button, and then select the group control. And this is a content group. And then right click. If you want to give some caption, you can give it. I'm simply selecting the fields and field groups. And if I go to the properties, you can see the caption here, and you can set it to address data. Done. Okay. And then right click on the new button, and then select button group. To this button group, you need to add the OK button. Right click on the new, and then select a button. By default, if whatever you take now, it will take it as OK button, because people used to think, oh, if I add anything else, it might not take. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me delete this, and then let me click on the new command button and go to. Can you see this? Whatever the button you add, it is going to take it as the OK button only. Okay, it is considered as the OK button only. Done. Now we are done. And then to this content group, we need to add fields. Let me add some fields. Okay, click on the new, and then you can add whatever the fields you want here. Okay, whatever the fields you want, you can add. Let me do one thing. I'm adding this table as the data source, but it's not needed because I want to just drag and drop the fields, address, and then you can have the fields here: city, country, district, state, street, and then zip code. Drag and drop to the field groups. Okay, you can drag and drop to the field groups, and then go to the properties, and if you find anything called data source, simply remove that. Done. Okay, done. Now later on you can write a piece of code to add the data. Okay, done. This is my drop dialog. Now what I need to do is I need to create a menu item. Okay, if you have created some something, you need to attach the menu item to it. Let me create a menu item, a display one, and let me call it as ICI drop dialog. What do you call it? ICI drop dialog. Okay, and to this ICI drop dialog, go to properties, and then you can call ICI drop dialog here. What happened to my ICI? ICI, and then you can call it as drop dialog. Done. Save. Okay, go to Solution Explorer, and then to this drop dialog we are done. Now go to table of contents, and then here we have the drop dialog button. Go to properties, and once it is clicked, I will call it as drop dialog here. Once it is clicked, you can simply set the menu item name as ICI drop dialog. Done, and then save. Okay, let's go to Solution Explorer, and then let's see this. Okay, let me check if there is any button either there. Done, that's it. Menu button, menu item button. We have seen all the buttons now. Okay, we have seen all the buttons. We have added all of them. But actually, this is there in tab control 3. Let me check if I have added any caption here. For this one, I will add Action Pane Test. Okay, here I'm adding it as Action Pane Test. Where exactly? Form tab page control 6 in the tab control 2. In this tab page control 2, I will call this as Action Pane. Let's see how it works, because generally people will not add like this. They will add Action Pane directly and they will have a look at it, but I want to see how it works. Okay, let's see that. I am rebuilding the solution. In the meantime, if you have any queries, please let me know.
Yeah, I was trying to create a, main menu,
Hmm.
and I have two models.
Hmm.
Uh, I was in that was my name, and was I was I was created another model ICICI.
Hmm. Hmm.
But when I going to create the extension of main menu, it was
Hmm.
showing the grade. It was not allowed me to create the extension of that main menu in
Hmm.
that ICICI model. But whereas if I select Goro model, then
Hmm.
it will allow to do me so. I
Because
had
you need to have that reference. Okay, in the application, this one, you need to select whatever the model you want. Let's say here it's ICICI, and then you need to have the reference package here. If you have the reference package, then only it will allow you to create the extension. Okay,
applications.
you need to check the
Yeah,
model name beside that object, and then you need to add it as the reference package. For example, let's say if I go to data model and then tables, you can see there are a lot of tables. A few of the tables I might not get. For example, this one, I am not getting create extension. Why?
create extension. Yeah,
Because I have not referred fiscal books. For this, I will get create extension because application suite is already referred. Okay, you need to add it in the reference package. Got it?
okay. Yeah,
Now let me open this.
Tomorrow,
Go ahead.
can I ask a question? I want to know the way or all way to change user's his password on on-prem system.
You want user to change his password from his own system.
Uh, User want to change password.
Okay.
Yeah, how can you do this?
Which user you mean? Is it Dynamics 365 user or I did not get what exactly you are saying? Because if it is Dynamics 365
On-prem
user, na,
system,
it will
users
be
in
created in
Dynamics.
Azure Active Directory.
What?
Which user? Is it Dynamics 365 user or Windows user or which user exactly?
Dynamic.
Uh, Dynamics user. Okay. Because
Yeah.
Dynamics user means you need to change it from the Office 365. Okay. You need to change the password from his Office 365
Can
because
I see example?
okay, one second, I will show you. Let me finish this. Okay,
Uh,
now let me go to the bank management system and then the table of contents. Now you can see this is Action Pane, the second one. If I select this, I got the Action Pane tab 1. If I select this tab 1, you can see there are two buttons. One is click me. If I click on click me, it gives the menu, and similarly this is the new. Okay, if you have the data source, then only that new will work, otherwise it will not. Okay, and this is my tab 2, and this is open items. This is a menu button, and it has the menu items here, and in between you can see the separator, address and then customers. If you click on the address, it will navigate you to the address form, and then if you click on the customers, it will navigate you to the customers form. Okay, it will navigate you to the customers form. This is how we are going to work with the menu buttons. And then the last one is the drop dialog. If you select this, it will show you the dialog. You can add the data, and once the OK is clicked, you can add whatever the action you want to perform, the insert or update or whatever, you can do that. Okay, but remember, If you have less number of fields, then only go with drop dialog. Otherwise, you need to add a new screen for that. It might be either a simple list or whatever that it can be. Okay. If you have 4 or 5 fields, then only go with a drop dialog. Okay. Here actually the captions have gone because I have removed the data source. If you add the captions, you'll get the captions as well. And once you click on the OK button, it will do the action. Currently, we did not add any action, so it is not doing anything. Okay. If you click on the OK button, you can do the action as we have done. I will show you how to add the actions as well. Okay. So this is about the action pane. And whatever the controls you want to add, you can add to this action pane. Okay, not all of them. The restrictions are there. The restrictions are limited to the menu button, the menu action button, and the normal button and command button, and you can add the separator. Okay, please remember this is how we are going to work with action pane. Okay, yeah. Okay, now let me take the last one here. I have one more tab page created for us. So here, this is the form tab control 1. I have the tab basics copy. Let me call this as other controls. Okay, I want to call this as other controls. Okay, other controls, and then coming to this one, right click on the apply pattern and take the custom pattern, and then we will add some other controls and then we will see it. Later on, we'll add one more tab page. Let me add this calendar. I am adding the calendar control. Okay, you can see there are no properties that we can set. Okay, all are already there because it will simply show us the calendar. Let's see that how it will display. And then I want to take the clock card. Okay, it will display the clock. Okay, there is no help. There is no text or label or something to add. It's the clock. It will simply display the clock on the screen. And then you can see color picker. This is interesting control. Yeah, whenever you add a string and if you want the user to set some colors, we can do that colorful thing here. Okay, combo box. This we are going to use when we have the enumerated data type. Okay, in one of the screen when we have added the gender, we will get this combo box control. Next, command button. System defined commands. If you want to execute, then you can use the command button. Credit card. This is interesting control again. If you want to have a card, okay, here he has given the name as the credit card, but you can add whatever you want. Date time we have seen. Desktop calendar. Let's see what does this control does. It will also display the calendar for us. And then click on the new button. Yep. Okay. Next one is drop dialog. We have seen this just now. File. Okay, file upload. See here, coming to this file upload, you need to connect to the Azure blob. Then only they will be useful. Okay, from the local file system, if you want to simply add a file, then you can use this upload control, but it makes no sense because in case of AX 2012, we used to do that in a different way. Okay, whereas in Dynamics 365, they have given the direct controls. Okay, but we need to have the blob then only. Okay, then only it will be useful. Form part, a small box. Gantt chart, this is used for project management system. Okay, get started and get started banner. Okay, by default, when I'm muting everyone here, by default, when let's say the customer has his own company. Okay, if you know Dynamics 365 when he starts it, that won't be good. Okay, on the home screen he wants to see his own banner. Okay, on the home screen he wants to see his own banner. Then we can use this get started and get started banner. Okay, you can create that banner. Grid control, we have seen this, how to work with the grid and then how to add the data into it, how to bind the data from the data source and all those things. Group, it is used for grouping the controls. We have added this group control a whole lot of times. Okay, and hierarchical grid common, and then hierarchy viewer. These controls are used with HR. Okay, or let's say if you want to show something in the hierarchical pattern, then we are going to use this hierarchy controls. HTML editor. Okay, let's do one thing. First of all, let me show you these controls, and later on we will add some other controls. Okay, let me show you these controls first of all because they are just display purpose. So let me show them 1 second. Okay, let me do a rebuild. Let it build. While it is building, I want to show you something from Power BI. Let's see that. Okay, I hope you have installed Power BI. So first of all, we will see how to start working with the Power BI, and then we will create a simple report, and then we will move forward. Okay, just a second, it's loading. Now you can see here, I have few of them which might belongs to previous one. You can see here, I have the PK D365 account here. By default, let's say if you don't have the account, no need to worry. Okay, if you click on the file, directly you can see here sign in. You can click on this sign in button, and then it will take you. Okay, you can give your account. Click on the sign in. Done. Okay, if it is not added now, then it will ask you for the password and then mobile authentication, and then it will add. Otherwise it will sign you in automatically if you are already signed in. If you want to, okay, please remember. And once you are signed into the Power BI, the next step would be to get the data. To get the data, you have get data here. You can select all these are the data sources. I will show you two of them. One is Excel and the other one is using the OData. Okay, we will see with the integration as well. I have added a cricket scores, an Excel sheet here. Click on the open button, it will open the cricket scores. Okay, you can take any one of the sheet, it will get the data for you. If you click on the load, it will load the data into Power BI. Done. The data will get loaded. Okay, now data got loaded, and then you can see add data fields here. Let me take some of the data here. Where is the name? Let me do one thing. First of all, let me chart. This looks good.